city's debt management determines our bond rating and how much interest we pay on debt, financing many big projects underway across Denver.
It is important to protect Denver's reputation and business interests through sound financial practices.
The voters have authorized hundreds of millions of dollars in bonds for various projects, and it's important for Denver to execute the will of the voters responsibly.
Well, we did an audit of debt management because it's an important function. I mean, those dollars are really taxpayer dollars, and they warrant the same kind of good stewardship that any taxpayer dollar represents. Bonds, they're certificates of debt. We borrow money so that we can construct long-term facilities. Denver has a AAA credit rating from Standard & Poor's, Moody's, and Fitch's. Not very many cities in the United States get a AAA rating from all three of the bond rating agencies. It's not much different from an individual having a good credit rating. When you have a good credit rating, you get a better interest rate. A better interest rate means we pay lower interest. That leaves more money available for the particular project, whether it's rebuilding streets and gutters or the animal hospital that will be built at the zoo. As Denver is going to go into a period of capital construction with the latest bond issue that we approved last fall, I felt like it was important for Denver to make sure that Denver had all the T's crossed and the I's dotted before we go into another period of borrowing money. The bonds that were covered in the audit were the bond issue from 2007 and the bond issue from 2015, Amendment 2C. Those covered things like roads and bridges and parks and libraries. And, when a bond issue is approved, generally it gives the city wide discretion on what projects can be funded with that. After the bond issue has been approved, there might be a project that didn't cost as much as we thought it would, and there were dollars available to do something else. And when we deviate from what we initially told the taxpayer when they approved it, I think that we should document those decisions better than they were.
Our audit found that the city is managing the bonds well, but we would like to see a better documentation of these management procedures.
There are no issuance of non-compliance with the bond issues. There were no disclosure problems with the bond issues. There were no reporting problems with the bond issues. So I would give Denver's bond management a pretty good rating going forward. I think it's an important duty for me as the auditor is because I've told the taxpayer that I'm going to watch out for your tax dollars. Well, thank you for watching this episode of Ask the Auditor. You can reach me at auditor@denvergov.org and ask a question, and maybe your question will be the question we answer next on the next episode of Ask the Auditor. You can learn more at our new website, denverauditor.org.